When you think of Family Guy, you expect a certain level of chaos and questionable decisions. But over the course of the show's run, there are a handful of episodes with premises so randomly out of pocket and deeply sus.
Dad, I'm Chris. I'm your son.
Never seen you before in my life.
Wow, then I must be invisible!
That you have to wonder what the writers were actually thinking. Let's dive right into the most randomly sus episode of Family Guy. Let's start the show. Starting off with Season 12, Episode 3, Quagmire's Quagmire. For over 2 decades, Glenn Quagmire has been the undisputed king of highly questionable, deeply sus behavior in Quahog. But what happens when the neighborhood's biggest creep finally meets his match? In Season 12's Quagmire's Quagmire, Glenn dates a woman who is so wildly unhinged and dangerous that she actually turns him into a captive victim, completely flipping the script on his usual antics. The deeply uncomfortable storyline kicks off with a very relatable boomer moment. Quagmire gets a brand new computer and has absolutely no idea how to use it.
Can't find my photos.
Did you look under photos?
What is that?
It's a folder called Photos.
Yeah, I don't have that. I just have 40 folders all called New Folder.
Quagmire decides to take the machine directly back to the electronics store. There, he meets a tech support worker named Sonia, who takes one look at his extremely compromised, virus-riddled browser history and makes a shocking realization. Instead of being disgusted by his deeply unconventional tastes, Sonia reveals that she is actually into the exact same adult content.
Wow, so you're into that kind of stuff too?
Uh-huh.
Believing he has finally found his soulmate, Quagmire takes Sonia out on a date.
Oh, Glenn, I'm so glad you asked me out. Whenever I talk about stuff like this, most people look at me like I'm some kind of disgusting perv.
However, Sonia proves she operates on a completely different level of crazy when she discreetly slips something into his drink, knocking him completely unconscious. Quagmire wakes up to find himself handcuffed to her bed, realizing that Sonia didn't want a traditional romantic evening. She wanted a captive.
Even though you seemed like a sure thing, I really wanted to make sure.
Oh my God! You roofied me?
Surprisingly, Quagmire initially rolls with it, claiming he's in love. The two embark on an absolute tear of wildly inappropriate public behavior, including getting intimate in the local high school gym and embarking on a mission to replicate every character in the Chinese alphabet with their bodies.
When all said and done, Quagmire body tells story of sadness.
But things quickly go from passionately weird to straight up abusive. Quagmire shows up to the drunken clam sporting a pair of dark sunglasses, which Peter removes to reveal 2 massive black eyes. Quagmire admits to the guys that Sonia's idea of a good time involves extreme public humiliation and physical harm.
Are you guys still talking about Sonia?
All right, I should probably get going. Sonia and I are supposed to go to a brown eyes wide shut party.
When he finally tries to pump the brakes and tell Sonia to slow down, she responds by handcuffing him, aggressively beating him up, and shoving him into the trunk of his own car with a menacing giggity.
Oh, I'm gonna clean out your trunk. Giggity.
That's my word! That's my word!
Quagmire goes missing for days, prompting his parent, Ida, to drop by the Griffin house in a panic because she hasn't heard from him.
I'm a little worried about Glenn. I haven't heard from him in days. Have you seen him? I haven't seen anybody.
Peter, Joe, and Ida scour Quahog looking for him, until a random tip from a local leads them to a sketchy unit at the Quahog storage center. They break open the locker to find a battered Quagmire hanging completely upside down, begging to be freed.
I can't believe the guy with the ponytail and the facial tattoo at the front desk would let this happen.
Before they can make a clean getaway, Sonia arrives at the storage unit and immediately grabs Joe's service weapon.
You kidnapped our friend. You're going to jail.
Don't come any closer or I'll shoot you!
Pointing it right at the rescue crew. In a stroke of pure, ridiculous luck, Joe confidently calls her bluff, revealing that his gun isn't even loaded because he had a mental breakdown a few months prior and isn't allowed to carry live ammunition. Joe uses the distraction to tackle Sonia to the ground and officially arrest her.
God, Joe, that was so close! How'd you know the gun would jam?
Quagmire manages to survive his encounter with the one woman who managed to out-freak him, marking one of the most uniquely sus and table-turning moments in the character's entire history.
We're just glad to have you back, Quagmire.
Yep, and it's good to put all those troubles behind us.
Next up is Season 13, Episode 6, The 2,000-Year-Old Virgin. What happens when the savior of mankind returns to Earth, but instead of performing miracles, he's just trying to pull off the ultimate boundary-crossing grift? In Season 13, Episode 6, The 2,000-Year-Old Virgin, Jesus Christ himself is back in Quahog, and he uses his holy status to manipulate Peter into handing over the one thing he should be protecting most, his wife. The episode kicks off while Peter and Lois are out doing some Christmas shopping at the Quahog Mall and randomly bump into Jesus.
Oh, yeah, wow. It's been a while since we've seen him. Hey, Jesus!
It turns out he is just hiding out on Earth because he can't deal with his family during the holidays.
No way. I'm not going to let my pal Jesus spend his birthday like that. Hey, you know what? I am throwing you the best birthday party ever.
Feeling bad that Jesus is spending his birthday alone, Peter invites him out for a drink and decides that he and the guys are going to throw him the absolute best birthday party ever.
Well, hold on. If we're planning a party, we haven't even talked about the most important thing.
A hydration plan for people who overheat?
No, I'm talking about women.
When the guys sit down to plan the festivities, they make a shocking discovery. Despite being over 2 millennia old, the Son of God is technically still holding on to his V card.
Are you a virgin?
Feeling terrible that the Savior has been too busy performing miracles to ever experience the intimate touch of a woman, the guys make it their personal mission to help him become a man.
I'm saying, Jesus, we are going to help you lose your virginity.
Yeah, God, I love sex.
They initially try setting him up through speed dating, but Jesus proves to have absolutely zero game when talking to modern women.
Getting Jesus laid yet? I don't get it. Jewish guys are supposed to be swimming in tail.
Trying to help, Lois sits down to give Jesus a pep talk on how to properly converse with ladies.
Don't be afraid to be honest with a girl and show her who you are.
Wow. Thanks, Lois. That's the second best advice anyone's ever given me.
However, her advice works a little too well. Feeling much more confident, Jesus drops a massive bombshell on Peter, revealing that the specific woman he wants to have his first time with is actually Lois. Peter is understandably outraged.
But this is my wife you're talking about.
But Jesus leverages his divine power, offering Peter literally anything in the universe in exchange for his blessing. Peter's ultimate asking price? A Brookstone massage chair. Yes, Peter agrees to let the holy man get intimate with his wife in exchange for some vibrating living room furniture. Lois is completely shocked by the arrangement, but ultimately agrees, believing it is an incredible, divine honor that she was chosen.
Well, I guess it is kind of an honor that out of all the people in the world, Jesus chose me.
Jesus picks a glammed-up Lois up for their date, leaving Peter to enjoy his new vibrating chair at the Drunken Clam. But while Peter is relaxing, he overhears another patron at the bar complaining about how Jesus pulled the exact same virgin routine on him last Christmas.
Nah, he just acts lonely and lies about being a virgin so he can get with guys' wives. Did he show you that sad little apartment?
Peter realizes that Jesus is actually a total sleazeball who has been running this highly inappropriate grift on trusting husbands for years, just to get into bed with their wives. Horrified that he just sold his wife for a chair, Peter rushes to the hotel to stop the ultimate betrayal. He bursts into the room, only to find that Lois had already backed out on her own, deciding that their marriage was too strong to risk.
I couldn't go through with it. Our marriage is too important to me.
I love you, Lois. I don't know what I was thinking.
Jesus tries to quickly backpedal, claiming the whole scenario was just a test of faith to teach them a lesson. But his true, deeply sus colors had already been exposed.
Well, I can see my work here is done.
Well taught, Jesus. Well taught.
Yeah, I guess. Who cares? I'm not even real. Merry Christmas.
Next up is Season 4, Episode 23, Deep Throats. What happens when an eager teenage girl lands a prestigious internship with her town's eccentric mayor? If you are Meg Griffin, you end up in a highly inappropriate, deeply sus secret romance that almost makes front-page news. In Season 4, Episode 23, Deep Throats, Meg and Mayor West cross some major professional and age gap boundaries. The episode kicks off when Meg is absolutely thrilled to land an internship working for Quahog's eccentric Mayor Adam West.
Yeah, it was a really tough interview, but I totally nailed it.
It seems like a perfect opportunity for her to build her resume and assist with important mayor duties. However, the vibe shifts when an angry Brian storms into City Hall to passionately dispute a ridiculous $400 parking ticket he received. Brian loudly accuses the mayor of being a corrupt, shady politician, but Meg fiercely defends her new boss, refusing to hear a single bad word about him.
He's a corrupt bastard.
That is not true.
Yes, it is.
Determined to expose Mayor West's alleged corruption and prove Meg wrong, Brian teams up with Stewie to go undercover. Their investigation leads them to a sketchy, dimly lit parking garage where they meet a mysterious informant going by the alias Deep Throat, who hilariously turns out to be Kermit the Frog. Kermit tips the boys off with a massive clue. The mayor hasn't slept at his own house for 3 nights.
Mayor West hasn't slept at home for 3 nights.
Kermit the Frog?
Somebody talked! No one is safe! I'm getting out of here! Yay!
Following this lead, Brian and Stewie sneak back into the mayor's office at City Hall to snoop around. They bump into Meg and manipulate her by lying that they are just there to apologize.
Oh, no. I actually came to my senses and realized I was out of line. I'm just here to apologize.
Which prompts her to trust them enough to leave them completely unattended. Brian quickly locates the mayor's date book, uncovering a super-secret, highly confidential meeting at a local motel.
All we need is one incriminating entry in this date book, and that's our ticket to...
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Believing they are about to catch the mayor in a massive political and financial scandal, Brian and Stewie rent the adjacent motel room and drill a hole in the wall to spy on him. Instead of illegal political dealings, Brian and Stewie are horrified to witness a completely different kind of scandal. Through the peephole, they see Mayor West doing nothing illegal, aside from keeping his shoes on the bed.
I see a grown man enjoying cartoons. Well, that's it then. The only thing this guy is guilty of is being a whack job.
But then, a young woman enters the room, and Stewie quickly realizes that it's Meg. That's right, the teenage intern is secretly dating the much older mayor. Brian realizes he has the ultimate scoop to take down Adam West and manages to get taped evidence of their deeply sus romantic rendezvous.
Gosh, you're swell, Meg. I really have a great time when I'm with you.
Oh, Mayor West, I feel exactly the same way.
Later, Brian intercepts Meg as she tries to sneak back into the house and confronts her with the evidence.
Another late night, huh?
Yeah, Mayor West keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah, I noticed.
He urges her to end things before he goes to the press, warning her that this story will completely ruin her future. Meg stubbornly claims that she and Adam are truly in love, but during their next sensual date, which hilariously just involves the two of them watching cartoons in a motel room, she tearfully tells Mayor West about Brian's plan. Surprisingly, Mayor West shows a rare moment of genuine care. Unfazed by public scrutiny himself, he realizes the scandal would destroy a sweet young lady with her whole life ahead of her, so he valiantly decides to take the full fall to keep Meg's name completely clean. Touched by this surprisingly noble gesture from a man he thought was a monster, Brian's conscience kicks in. He swings by to let Meg know that he won't be publishing the story, sparing them both from the media fallout. It's a surprisingly sweet ending to one of the most wildly inappropriate and sus age gap relationships in the show's history.
Can I give you a lift home? My cab's right outside.
Next up is Season 4, Episode 6, Petarded. What happens when the patriarch of the family takes an official IQ test, only to be legally declared mentally challenged? If you are Peter Griffin, you don't use this as an opportunity for self-reflection. You realize you've just been handed the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card to act like a complete menace. In Season 4, Episode 6, Petarded, Peter's highly questionable antics reach a terrifying peak when his behavior lands his wife in a full-body cast and forces Child Protective Services to rip his children away from him. The deeply uncomfortable storyline kicks off during a friendly game night at the Griffin house. Lois, wanting to boost Peter's fragile ego, secretly feeds him questions from the preschool edition of Trivial Pursuit.
What color is a fire truck?
Lois, what are you doing?
I switched Peter's questions to the preschool edition, just to let him have his moment.
In fact, his game-winning question simply requires him to say the word "what." However, the victory goes straight to Peter's head, and he instantly becomes insufferable, boasting and bragging around the house while claiming to be an absolute genius.
Well, game night was a success.
Peter, you do know that all your questions were incredibly easy.
Yeah, easy for me. Good night, morons.
Sick of his arrogant attitude, Brian challenges Peter to prove his intellect by taking a test to apply for the prestigious MacArthur Genius Grant.
Well, if you qualify as a genius, the foundation will give you a $500,000 grant just to sit around and do whatever you want.
Wow.
When the medical results come back, they reveal exactly what the audience already knew. Peter isn't a genius and is actually officially diagnosed as being mentally challenged. Initially, Peter is incredibly depressed about the news and the fact that he is being treated like a child, but his perspective completely flips after a horrific driving accident. Peter loses focus while behind the wheel and ends up running over local news anchor Tom Tucker.
Do I look like I'm all right? My back is broken and my leg is twisted.
Oh my God.
Tom is furiously ready to press charges, but the moment he realizes Peter's medical diagnosis, he completely lets him off the hook out of pity. A light bulb goes off in Peter's head. He can use his diagnosis to get away with literally anything. Peter goes on an absolute tier of highly illegal and sus behavior, which includes starting physical fights with Bibles in church and unapologetically busting into the women's restroom.
Sorry, retarded.
Oh, that's okay then.
Don't know any better.
Oh, bless your heart.
But his reign of terror goes way too far when he decides he wants to steal a commercial deep fryer from a local fast food joint. During the ensuing chaos, Peter accidentally flings burning hot cooking oil all over Lois.
Lois, you look worse than that Rocky Dennis kid from Mask.
Rocky, I don't even know what you look like. Can I touch your face?
Of course, Diane.
Severely burning her and landing his wife in the hospital in a full-body cast. Realizing that Peter is a massive danger to his own family, Child Protective Services immediately steps in, removing Meg, Chris, and Stewie from the home and granting temporary custody to their neighbor, Cleveland.
Can't believe they took the kids away.
Well, at least Cleveland offered to take care of them.
Brian, being the only voice of reason left, tries to talk sense into Peter, explaining that the only way to get his kids back is to prove to the CPS agent that he is a fit and capable father. But in typical Peter Griffin fashion, he wildly misinterprets this advice, deciding that the best course of action is to frame Cleveland as a terrible parent instead. Peter actually hires a group of working girls and sneaks them into Cleveland's house while Stewie is present, before anonymously calling CPS to inspect the property.
Oh my lord, look who's here. Agent Jessup, look at all these prostitutes.
The agent sees right through Peter's completely unhinged ruse, forcing Peter to stand trial for custody. In court, Peter attempts to defend himself by introducing a ghost who never lies to the stand, which goes just about as terribly as you would expect.
Ghost that never lies. Did you witness the events that took place on that fateful day? You did. Well, how interesting.
While Peter's heartfelt final plea to the judge miraculously saves him from serving prison time, he still loses custody of his children. In the ultimate classic era reset, the situation is only resolved when a fully healed Lois returns from the hospital, taking charge and bringing the children back home, proving once again that Peter is an absolute walking disaster for everyone around him.
Isn't it wonderful that everything's back to normal?
Yeah,